The car that is standing here was first announced as the Seat Born. But then the Volkswagen Group decided that Seat is not the more affordable, more sporty car brand anymore. No, it is going to be Cupra. So then my question is, what is the added value of Seat at this moment? Personally, I think Seat will slowly die. But anyway, I am not here to talk about Seat, am I? I am here to talk about the car that Cupra stole from Seat. Hello there monsters and men, ladies and people. This is the Cupra Born and welcome to Recharging. One question I thought about while making this review was, can I make this review without mentioning the Volkswagen ID.3? And my conclusion was, no, I can't. I mean, you have seen the front of the car, that one looks rather different than the Volkswagen ID.3 and a lot better in my opinion. But then, look at this side profile, it is identical. There can be no doubt that this car shares a lot of things with that Volkswagen ID.3. So then the question is, which one should you buy? The Cupra Born, the Volkswagen ID.3, or does it not matter? So where the front is different, the side profile the same, the rear of the Cupra Born is also different. The design of the Cupra Born still screams a lot of Seat though, but that is not a bad thing in my opinion. Again, I think the Cupra Born looks really good. The size of the boot though is the same as the Volkswagen ID.3. That means if I open it up here behind the logo, you see a boot space of 385 liters. And if you fold down the rear seats, you have a boot space of 1267 liters. Let's have a look at the rear seats. As usual, the seat in front of me is in my typical driving position. I am 1 meter and 85 centimeters and I have plenty of knee room. The seat in front of me is in its lowest position and I can still shove my feet under the seat in front of me and I still have some headroom. The car is wide enough for 3 people to sit in, and since this car is designed as an electric car, there's also no hump in the floor. What is a bit disappointing though, like pretty much all MEB platform cars, is the quality of the materials. The door is all hard plastic. I mean, they did not even bother to put a soft armrest here in the door. Again, a bit disappointing. Besides that, you do have 2 USB-C ports back here and you have an armrest with 2 cup holders. Being a MEB platform car means that you can get this car in all kinds of configurations. The car that I'm driving right now has a 58 kWh battery pack. That one has a WLTP range of more than 400 kilometers. It also has a 204 horsepower motor and does 0 to 100 in around 7.5 seconds. In the future, other versions will be available. One with a 77 kWh battery pack, that one has a range of more than 500 kilometers and also comes with the same electric motor as this one, so 204 horsepower. Then there is one with a 45 kWh battery pack. That one has a range of around 350 kilometers and comes with a 150 horsepower motor. All versions of the Cupra Born are limited to 160 kilometers an hour. The Cupra Born also comes with a e-boost functionality. What is that e-boost functionality then? With the e-boost functionality, you get a button here on your steering wheel. And when you press that button, when you have the right conditions, you get for a short period of time 30 horsepower more. With that 30 horsepower, you can do 0 to 100 in around half a second faster. Is it worth it? I don't think it is worth it. Just spend your money on something else. The thing is with the MEB platform cars is that in my mind it feels like the Volkswagen Group didn't want to scare people coming from an internal combustion engine car. I mean, they drive basically the same as an internal combustion engine car with an automatic gearbox. You don't have flippers behind the steering wheel to determine the amount of regeneration that the car should do when you lift your foot off the accelerator, and it is also not configurable in the infotainment system. No, you have a drive mode, and in drive mode the car regens a little when you take your foot off the accelerator, and you have a brake mode, and in brake mode the car regens more. Of course, when you put your foot on the brake pedal, the car will first use regen to slow down and at last apply the physical brakes. What is nice though is that when you have the car in brake mode, for example, and then go to reverse and then back again, the car is again in brake mode and not in drive mode like many other cars do. It actually remembers the mode that you were in. Very nice. And also this car does not have a one pedal drive mode. At least not yet, because, well, I heard rumors, and keep in mind these are rumors, that there will be a one pedal drive mode available soon through a software update. Who knows? Would be nice. Only the 58 and the 77 kilowatt hour battery packs get a 11 kilowatt onboard charger as standard. Charging the 58 kilowatt hour battery pack takes around 6 hours and the 77 kilowatt hour battery pack around 8 hours. What about fast charging then? Well, all the battery packs have a different maximum fast charging speed, but what they do have in common is that charging them from 10 to 80% will take you around 30 minutes. I have driven quite a few kilometers with this Cupra Born the last few days, so let's talk about the real efficiency of this car. The temperature this week is a bit weird, because during the evening and the night it is around 5 degrees Celsius, sometimes even colder, and during the day it is 15 degrees Celsius with sun. And therefore during the evening and the night I see a consumption while driving on mixed roads of around 17 to 18 kilowatt hours, and while driving during the day it is closer to 16 kilowatt hours. And the reason for that is that this car does not have a heat pump. I mean, while stationary, I see this car pulling around 1.7 kilowatts of energy to keep it nice and cozy in here during the evening and the night. I mean, at the moment it is 12 degrees, the sun is shining, and the car is only pulling 700 watts to keep it nice and cozy in here. Therefore, in winter you can expect a range of around 320 kilometers, maybe if it is colder than 0 degrees Celsius even less, maybe 300. But during summer this car can be efficient and you can get a range of around 380 to 400 kilometers. Let's talk about the front interior, because it is nicer in here than in a Volkswagen ID.3 in my opinion. Yes, the quality of the materials on the door are still a bit disappointing, because everything is hard plastic except for your armrest. But where in the Volkswagen ID.3 this is grey plastic that looks a bit cheap in my opinion, here it is black plastic that looks higher quality. Also, the soft touch here on the dashboard is black instead of grey, and under that you have some metal look plastic to cheer things up a little. And being a Cupra you also have copper accents everywhere that also cheers things up. But the thing that really ups the quality in here compared to that Volkswagen ID.3 in my opinion is this higher center console. I really like the way it looks. What about cubby space then? It is decent. You have decent sized door pockets, you have a cubby here, 2 cup holders, you can hide this if you want to. Under your armrest there is a huge cubby to be honest, and the glove box is of a decent size. Then what about your driving position? Well, you get these sport seats as standard and they are really nice. They are comfortable, they have plenty of adjustability, nothing to complain. Also, the adjustability of the steering wheel is really good. On top of the steering wheel you have your instrument cluster, and that moves together with the steering column, so you can always see them. But then you have these buttons on the steering wheel and they are touch sensitive. And they are not the most user-friendly buttons that I have ever used. And that is because some buttons are touch-based and then you get some haptic feedback, but other buttons like your volume or your cruise control speed are touch and slide. And again, that is awkward to use. You have to get used to them. Another downside about those buttons is that when you are driving and you're holding your steering wheel like this, you can accidentally press them and then you up your volume, or you are driving over the speed limit because you upped your cruise control speed. There are plenty of complaints about the infotainment system in MEB platform cars, and I complained too. But I have less problems with the system here in the Cupra Born. First of all, you get a bigger screen as standard, so that is nice. And also the system in the Cupra Born has more shortcut buttons, so that means it is easier to navigate through all the menus. Also, I didn't encounter much problems with it being unresponsive. It actually worked fine the last few days. Under the screen you have touch sensitive buttons and you have to get used to them, but if you are used to it, they work fine. It would have been nice though if they lit up in the dark so you could actually see what you were doing. The system itself, it gets over-the-air updates, and there's also an app available to preheat the car, see your state of charge, etc. A lot of reviewers say or want that this Cupra Born is the first electric hot hatch. Let me tell you one thing, it isn't. Is it a bad car then? No, absolutely not. I love the way this car drives. First of all, it has rear wheel drive, so big plus. Second, the car feels planted on the road even at higher speeds. The steering has a nice weight to it and is responsive. The suspension is a good balance between comfort and sportiness, and the car is quiet. It is a really quiet car for its class. Does it drive different than a Volkswagen ID.3? Well, not a whole lot. But that doesn't matter because I also like the way the Volkswagen ID.3 drives. Yes, the Cupra Born is a bit more sporty than the ID.3, but if you expect a hot hatch, you will be disappointed. If you don't expect a hot hatch though, then again, this is a really good driving car. Again, being a modern car, this Cupra Born is available with most driving and safety features. And I say most because there is a weird thing, at least here in the Netherlands. I looked at all the different trim levels and all the different specifications, and the Cupra Born is not available with blind spot monitoring and also not available with lane keeping assist. You know, the system that actively steers for you while driving on the highway. I mean, why? And also, it is a Volkswagen Group product, so the least expensive Cupra Born does not get adaptive cruise control, only normal cruise control. One thing that I noticed though with the adaptive cruise control, and that is something I have never noticed before in any other car. For example, I am driving on the right lane. My cruise control is set to 110 kilometers an hour. I am driving and there is a car on the left lane driving slower than 110 kilometers an hour. Then the adaptive cruise control sees that and it will not overtake that car. Again, I have never noticed that before in any other car. Most cars will just overtake that car on the right with 110 kilometers an hour. This one won't. It will stay nicely behind that car. Really nice. So what is my final verdict of the Cupra Born? Well, something in me is really attracted to the Cupra Born. Yes, the quality of the materials in the interior can be a bit better. And yes, the winter efficiency can also be a bit better. But I really like the way this car looks and I really like the way this car drives. And if you ask me, or you really don't have to like the way this car looks from the in or outside, until Volkswagen facelifts the ID.3, the Cupra Born is the nicer car to buy. And that was a review of the Cupra Born. I hope you liked it, and if you did, please give a like. If you have something to say, leave a comment, and it would be awesome if you subscribed. And then I would like to say now thank you a lot for watching, and as always, to be continued.